Hello, everyone. Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper. How's everybody doing this evening? So, we are back. So, a lot of things been going on at the Moore home this week. I've been running a hospital, folks, and it's Cynthia has really come down with a really bad flu, and she's been down now for almost 2 weeks. So she's been in bed, and I've been making her stay in bed, get well, get rested, and so she's been sleeping a lot. And hey, Lori, how you doing? Sleeping a lot. Sarah was affected as well. And so last week was kind of a dilemma. And on top of that, my mom hurt and twisted her knee. So I had to go over and see her, make sure everything was good for her, get her all bandaged up and everything. And then on top of that, Scooby had to go to the vet and have kind of like a growth or something removed from his chest. And so I've been playing doctor in hospital here this week, and it's just been absolutely crazy. So, but Sarah is up and running again, and Cynthia's still in bed. We're hoping that she will be good come Monday, but if she isn't, I'm going to make her continue to stay in bed and get rested. So, it's she's just, it's been hanging on and everything, but she's starting to kick it, and things are looking good. So give folks a chance to get in the room here. Just want to welcome everybody. Just thank you so much for tuning in to Saturday Night Live with Kilted Prepper. And normally, again, Cynthia's here, but of course she's sick in bed. But good stuff going on. Good show tonight. I've got some good information I want to share with you guys, and the things that are coming down the pipe, and some of the things that I'm seeing. And what's interesting is what other prepper channels are beginning to see as well. And so I'm just, glad you're here. Do me a favor, if you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and then ring that little bell so that you get notified whenever we do go live or I do post videos. I want to apologize for not doing a garden update yesterday. Again, this has just been so crazy this week and things that I just didn't get a chance to do that. But for those who've been following me, and I'm experimenting with electroculture, and there's some really interesting things going on in my garden. I just planted some romaine lettuce and stuck up some more antennas and everything. I'm going to be adding even more antennas to my garden and stuff. But the romaine lettuce and spinach, but primarily the romaine lettuce, 3 days after planting, I was already getting sprouts. Now, romaine does kind of, germinate rather quickly. It's about 5 to 7 days, but I was getting sprouts already in just 3 days. And the sprouts were all right next to the antenna. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do a garden update tomorrow, let you guys see what's going on. But wherever my antennas are, a lot of the romaine lettuce and spinach, I think spinach, is popping up. And so it's really, really interesting to see all that things going on. Hey, Joan, how you doing? But all that is going on, and the romaine is popping up. And then if you, excuse me, if you saw last show, my last garden update, I stuck 2 antennas on 2 individual tomato plants, and they are just booming, where I did not stick one on another plant. That plant is actually doing pretty well, but it's not as tall as the others. And in fact, I have one tomato plant that is actually catching up to one of my first tomato plants that was next to another one of my antennas. And so I'm really seeing accelerated growth. And then also the plants are producing, flowers already, or blossoms and stuff. I have onions that are growing in and around the area, and again, romaine. And all that romaine is popping up. The onions are doing incredible. My garlic is starting to pop up again and things. So the garden, this electroculture experiment, I have to say, is still going very well, very positive, and in the right direction. I mean, for me, the jury says that electroculture works, and I'm seeing it. It's amazing to see how fast the growth is taking place versus some other tomato plants that I have in the garden that are just not. I mean, they're growing, but at kind of the normal rate, and but not as fast as some of the other plants and things that are closer to antennas. So I'm went out and got some more copper and some more bamboo sticks and everything, and so I'm going to be really sticking a bunch of antennas in the areas or the new tomato plants that I've planted. And what I'm going to actually start doing is marking the sticks to measure growth, and so that we can really see how fast things are growing out there. But again, I just want to welcome you all for being here and everything. So, hey, Karen, hey, Debbie. So, Trump is going live. Okay, so I guess you can watch Trump, instead of me, but a lot of stuff's going on here at the Moore home, and just really excited about the garden and everything that's going on out there. So tonight, a couple things that I want to talk about. 1 second. A couple things I want to talk about is one, we're starting to see grain shortages, and this is something that I've been talking about for a while now, probably since last December, when the USDA put out their final numbers of actual, harvests. And what happened is that last year's harvest in regards to grain fell very short. And so the carryover, what is left over from that we didn't use in 2022, the carryover that came over in 2023 only lasted till about March. And where normally we've had good carryover that will last usually till about June, July. Well, what we're looking at now is, since all this stuff is now catching up and everything, the grain harvest that, again, we ran out of, that carryover, we are beginning to starting to feel the effects. And in fact, I was at Kroger's today looking at prices, and oh my goodness, was I surprised from just going shopping, about 10 days ago to today, and all the prices that are going up. I'm just blown away. I mean, I'm someone, when I go shopping now, because we've situated our pantry to basically be our store. All I do is I shop sales and just replenish what we've been taking out of the pantry. And so today I only spent about $150, but had a whole big grocery cart full. And I really, really highly encourage you guys, if you don't shop at Kroger's, or find someplace that has one of these, cards, where savings cards and stuff, that's where I save a lot of money. But also look and see if that store that you are shopping at has digital coupons, because it's amazing to me. Every time I go, I'm always watching to see if people are actually scanning in the digital coupons. And I'm not seeing people scan these things in, where if they would just download the app and then, use digital coupons, then, they'd save even more. But I'm very picky and savvy shopper when it comes to grocery shopping nowadays. But some of the things I saw at Kroger's is, one, the produce section sucked. I mean, there was just nothing there. It was pretty, and this is a Saturday, folks. And usually Saturdays, everything's stocked up really nice and everything. A lot of the shelves have empty spots in it and things. And so, but I was really amazed how poor the produce was. And in fact, there was this one thing of red onions, because I needed some onions, and there was only one bag left, but the onion was like all mushy and yucky, and it had fruit flies all over it and everything, and it was just kind of disgusting. but I'm seeing all this. But I checked flour prices and picked up a couple 20 pounds of flour. But flour, last time I bought flour, flour was sitting around $6 or $7 for a 10-pound bag. And today the price was sitting what, 9.97. I should have taken a picture of it, but yeah, price of flour has jumped. And with these grain shortages that are taking place and everything, you need to be careful and start picking this up. Now the interesting thing is I was watching Pinball Preparedness today, and Pinball was talking about how he is also seeing grain shortages and everything. In fact, some of his community has come back and said, "Hey, man, we have not been able to find any hard red wheat." And they went up to like 4 distributors trying to find hard red wheat, and they couldn't find any and everything. They did find one place that would do an order. They placed the order, and instead of having hard red, they got hard white. And but the interesting thing is later, I guess a couple days later or something, the order actually got canceled because they were out of that as well. Now, what is interesting is, again, the USDA is saying, "Hey, man, things are okay. Don't worry about it. There's no natural, shortage or anything like that." And then yet, and again, USDA puts all their numbers out on estimates. They are estimating; these are not actuals, and so they kind of paint a false picture. Whereas what's happening right now, especially in the corn arena and wheat arena, basically corn and wheat are grown pretty much in the same areas, but we're suffering serious drought in the Midwest, where the majority of corn and wheat are grown. And farmers are still having to play catch up and everything with the drought that's taking place. And so either there's drought or there is flooding taking place. I've been hearing of areas that are starting to get flooded, and that's severely affecting the corn and wheat arena as well. And so I don't think that we are going to be seeing some grains here. Now, the interesting thing is that wheat, okay, wheat you make bread and you make pasta from and everything. But corn, I mean, corn is kind of a big deal because there's just so many things that we consume that uses corn. I mean, just go to your kitchen pantry or kitchen cabinets and everything, open them up and start reading your labels, and you'll be amazed how much corn is in the products that you are eating. And it's also dog food. I mean, our dog food, oh my goodness. Uh, Month and a half ago, I think. Yeah, about a month and a half ago, it was sitting at 45. And we do an Amazon, basically subscribe and save. The food that we buy is now sitting at $53 for a 42 or 43 pound bag of food, which again is shrinkflation, because they used to be 50-pound bags of food. Now they're 42 or 43-pound bags of food, but being charged more. And so, it is interesting to see all that's going to be taking place. And with the corn industry being severely affected in things that, again, corn oil, Doritos, cereal. I mean, there's so many things, corn oil. There's so many things that we use that are corn related, that if there are some serious shortages with corn and things, then that arena is going to be severely affected. And and again, look at what you've got in your pantry and see what is going on there and how many items are corn related. But something interesting that Pinball pointed out is that not only is there going to be the corn shortages and everything like that, but he also was talking, hey, what happens when you go fill up your car? Well, almost all the gas stations now are 10% ethanol. Well, guess where they get ethanol from? Corn. And so if there are corn shortages, Are we going to see also rising prices at the gas pump, maybe later here in the summer, possibly fall, but even moving into winter and also 2024? And so, if those corn shortages are true and the production is not there, which a lot of farmers are saying their corn crops are not producing as much just because of the drought and everything, or there's been flooding, and that flooding severely affects corn because what it does is it robs a lot of the nitrogen out of the soil, and so the corn dies. And so there's a lot of things going on in regards to corn, and so start betting that fuel prices will probably go up because all the fuel now is 10% ethanol. Now there are some states, and I don't think we have it here in Virginia. Maybe we do, but where you can buy pure gas and gasoline. Some things like boats and other things need pure gas. They can't use the 10% ethanol stuff, and so, but that stuff is about 60 cents higher than what it is. And I was just, when I was driving around today, I was checking out gas prices, and I would say probably the lowest I saw was 308 here, with the average being about 325. So add 60 cents to that. If we start seeing corn shortages and the ethanol issues and everything, they're going to have to start just producing more real gas, and those prices are going to go up even higher. And so start my recommendation is do like what I did today and pick up a couple 10-pound bags of flour, or check your flour stocks and see if you need to replenish or anything like that. I would do that. And then you may want to pick up some extra bottles of corn oil and or whatever corn products that you may use. You may be using corn flour or whatever, but you might want to start stocking up on some of these things, kind of getting ahead of the curve, and before prices start going up even higher. But again, I was just totally amazed and kind of blown away at the prices of the regular food, because again, I don't really shop regular food. I shop sales. That's all I do. I really work hard at keeping our grocery bill about $125 to $150 about every 10 days is when I go shopping. And so it was just amazing to me how much the prices have gone up in the last 10 days. Let's see here, Joan, but uh, I bet order organic flour. Yep, order your organic flour. Good evening. Still drought here in Wisconsin, so count on prices going up. Thank you, Heather. That's some good intel right there. Angry Taco, love watching Pinball. Yeah, Pinball's great, man. In fact, after my show, Pinball goes live as well. So you can jump on over there and watch Pinball. He'll probably be talking about the grain issues as well. Where I'm at, Shirts is gas stations growing exponentially around the state, and they carry ethanol-free gas. Okay, that's good. It's in their red label. It's about 70-80% more per gallon. That's good intel to know. Thank you so much, Angry Taco. But it's, a lot of people don't think about how much we in the U.S. depend upon corn, and all the derivatives and all the things that we use and pull from corn. And so it's going to be really interesting. Now, the interesting thing is after I watched Pinball's show today around noontime, I called my source and asked them about hard red wheat. Now, when I've bought from them before, it's about $30, $32 for hard red wheat, hard white, and everything for a 50-pound bag. Well, today, what is the price? It was $45 for a 50-pound bag. So it's gone up $15. And I shop a little Mennonite store that's here, and the price has gone up. So, there. And then I was asking him here, I got my notes, how are the supply chain issues? And they said it's starting to take longer for them to get hard red. So start checking with your sources. I would really love to hear. And do me a favor, put in the description below if you hear anything or if you talk to some of your sources or anything. What is the wheat issue starting to look like? And then also, what is the corn issue starting to look like? Corn, with hunting season coming up here soon, more and more people are going to start buying deer corn and things. So keep an eye on that. And it'd be interesting to see if deer corn goes up in price. Deer corn here is about $9 to $11 for a 50-pound bag. And so I'm going to be keeping an eye on that to see what's going on with deer corn and things. So let's see. That would mean oil and others would use instead of corn, causing those prices to rise. Exactly, Joan. Very, very good point. Is that if people don't have corn oil, because corn oil is used a lot in restaurants and everything, in the deep fryers, and then a lot of people use them at home and so forth. But if corn oil prices or corn oil starts to become less available, then other oils are going to go higher in price because, again, supply and demand and things. Now, I don't use vegetable oil. I don't use canola oil or anything like that. I tend to use coconut oil, tropical oils, or palm oil, and avocado oil, grapeseed oil. Those are the oils that we tend to cook with. I'm in the keto arena. Those are the oils that are more preferred to cook with and things, as well as butter. So, and bacon grease. So, but those things are, good point, Joan, that other oil prices are going to start. So what you may want to do is start stocking up on your cooking oils. Now, again, shelf life for cooking oil is something about, 2.5 years. So, need to make sure that you rotate your oils or your cooking oils and everything, especially if you're using some of the like avocado or olive oil or some of these seed oils or tropical oils. They tend to get, rancid sooner. So again, rotate these oils and everything like that. But yeah, start doing it. Start thinking ahead. Start planning ahead. Staying ahead of the curve. That's the important thing. That's one of the things that we do as preppers. Is we're kind of keeping an eye on the horizon, see what's going on, and so that we can adjust, adapt, overcome before the wave comes. And the wave are all those crazies and everything like that. Fighting over toilet paper and stuff. But let's see here. Other things here is what happened. I think I lost some of my notes here, but the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, one other slide I wanted to share, a real good one, is this is the wheat outlook for June 2023, and a lot of countries, again, these are forecasts. And so the USDA is saying that, oh, we're going to be really great and everything, but that's not what is actually coming from the ranches and farmers and things like that. But almost all the countries are having a negative deficit, or maybe just 1 or 2% higher from what last year was and everything. And so, say an increase of global production supports higher consumption, increased trade, and larger ending stocks. So, meaning, carryover. But with everything going on in the world, especially with what I think we're going to start seeing is famine, primarily due to Russia and Ukraine being in the war and everything. And since those areas are basically the bread baskets for Europe and Africa, I think that we're going to be seeing some nations, coming up really hard and being in serious need. Now, switching lanes here. Let's see here. Joan says she uses tallow, lard, coconut oil for cooking and frying. Pretty much what I use. Anytime we cook bacon, we always save the bacon grease. That's a good habit to get into. And when you cook with bacon grease, it also helps flavor things. You get that nice smoky, flavor and such. But we also cook with coconut oil and avocado oil and all those. the things. But I don't know if you guys been reading any of my articles that I've been pushing out here recently. I am deeply, deeply concerned about the BRICS meeting that is coming up here in August. And so Jewel Patriot Home said, hey, Raymond, hey, Jewel Patriot. But I'm super concerned about what's coming up with BRICS. And interesting thing is that I've been telling folks that we are going to be looking at, basically if the countries come together, and the numbers were 23 nations. Well, just recently they now popped up to 41. But if 23 nations come together, it basically means that they will have a higher GDP, 30% higher than the US. They will have over 50% of the global population and in control of 60% of the world's oil. And again, I've been hearing 23 nations, but it was just recently announced that actually 41 nations are coming on board or wanting to apply to the BRICS alliance, and then also usher in a new currency. And if you guys pay attention to Rudy, the Alaska prepper, friend of mine, he's, in fact, he should be doing a show about some of my articles here soon. I sent him my Walmart article, and he's like, Daphne, always happens, always. But he's starting to really talk about the BRICS meeting as well, and then, folks, this is serious, because if BRICS comes together and all these nations join BRICS, and they then decide to create their own currency, then what they're going to be doing is basically circumventing the U.S. dollar, the SWIFT system. And then another thing is that we're seeing a real big push for de-dollarization, and more countries are dumping their debt. And in fact, last week, China and Japan dumped over $880 billion in U.S. debt, liquidated it. And so we're going to start seeing more of the U.S. debt, basically come back to the U.S. And the more countries that sell off their debt, sell off those T-bills and everything, the more of that money is going to be coming back here. And what that's going to cause then is inflation, even higher inflation, because it's going to be flooding the market with dollars, those paper things that we use. And so the more of those that are in there, the more, it's going to start costing more of those pieces of paper to start buying things. And then Angie talks, the Southern Prepper one had great info on the debt consuming is going up. Yep, it's up to 140 billion, and then going up 2 billion a day. Yeah, I know. Our debt is starting to run away, and so things are not looking good. Now, the positive thing is that more and more states are starting to adopt gold and silver as the currency. So not only can you pay bills using the fiat currency that we're currently using here, those pieces of paper, but states are now allowing taxes and bills and other things like that to be paid with gold and silver. And in fact, I want to say a number of states have also de-taxed gold and silver. And so a couple of years ago, if you would go down to a coin shop or something and actually buy like a gold, a Walking Liberty or a gold double eagle or something, they would actually charge you tax on that money, because that stuff is actually printed or made or coined at the U.S. Mint. That is actual money. But number of states, and I know that Virginia here, we are not taxed on gold and silver. And so I know Texas is that. And in fact, a number of states are now starting to create depositories or state depositories where they're going to start housing gold and silver. Texas is taking quite a lead on that. Another thing that I've shown and talked about here, and I don't have them, are the Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, North Dakota, and New Hampshire all have joined in on Goldback. And so something that you can check into is goldback.com, and there are these gold certificates that are actually impregnated with actual gold. And so those are starting to become more and more popular. It's getting harder and harder to find. If you go to JM Bullion or APMX or some of these other, gold and silver companies on the web, it's actually getting harder to find those gold certificates because more and more people are buying them. It's a great way to acquire gold at a lot lower price. So a one gold back or a $1 gold back is about $3 or $4.25 right now. And so you're able to slowly acquire, gold, and they're pretty cool looking. And so these are a great barterable item to have that are actually backed by gold. And so with all this going on with BRICS and stuff, the thing that I'm concerned with and what I'm kind of seeing the writing on the wall is that China and the BRICS nations are going to start alienating us or pushing us out of trade deals, or basically in fact, China 2 weeks ago, China 2 weeks ago canceled a 200 million, a 200 million ton corn order or corn contract, and just said, you know what, we're not going to buy the corn from you. And so they canceled that corn contract, and instead they bought their corn from South Africa and Brazil. And so what I'm seeing with BRICS and everything is that they're going to start doing trade with each other versus trade with the US. Now, the negative thing is that we are a country that no longer manufactures anymore. And so because of that, we rely a lot on imports. And so a lot of the countries that we've shipped our manufacturing off to are now actually looking at joining BRICS. And so this is something that is, it's going to start costing us more to start buying these things. And I don't know if you remember, if you're old enough to remember the 70s and when some of those things were going on, and any imports that were coming in were astronomically priced. And so that's what I think that we're going to start seeing here is we're going to start seeing more and more imports. The price of them are going to get so high that people just aren't going to afford them anymore. And so I'm deeply concerned, especially, again, last week, China did something. They pulled the rug out from underneath us and said that they're no longer going to export germanium and let's see, gallium, gallium. It's germanium and gallium. So these are two rare earth metals that are needed for green technology. And so China just basically went, whoop, no more for you. And so because of that, we are now even in a more shortage to, creating these chips and stuff like that, especially in the green technology that uses germanium and gallium to produce those chips and stuff. And so I think what is going to happen, and a lot of people out there, and just getting on my soapbox here a little bit, but so many people out there are concerned about EMP and zombies and CME, corneal mass explosion or whatever it is, and then some of these other issues and everything. And and I'm gonna piss people off. These to me are romantic ideas. And I have a number of reasons, which I'm just, not with the time and everything I'm not going to share. But I think these are kind of romantic ideas versus things that are actually staring us in the face right now. And the things that are staring us in the face right now are these trade issues. And so I could actually see China and the BRICS nations actually going to economic war with us. I mean, again, look how many things are we in America are dependent upon, either Chinese imported or Chinese sourced. And It's just amazing to me that we basically are having a Walmart addiction. At least that's what I call it, because about 90% of everything sitting on the Walmart shelves is, imported. And if it isn't imported from China, it's imported from BRICS nations now. Cynthia went to Walmart to pick up a prescription, 2 weeks ago, before she was sick, and was talking about um, how things are, she was reading all the labels, and she's like, man, everything I was picking up, she's only found one thing that was made in the USA, and that was a box fan. Everything else she was picking up, and these are things that she was just going through her head. Oh, I need this. Oh, I want to buy this or this and that. And when she looked at everything, almost everything was made in China, or everything also was made like in Brazil or India or some of these other BRICS nations. And so I'm concerned that once this meeting takes place in August, it's going to be a happy joy club, and they're just going to say, you know what, let's just stop trading with the US and let's just start trading with each other, because again, they're going to be having 50% of the population. And so that's a rather large number of consumers versus the consumers in America, because we are the largest consumer market in the world. But when you compile all those countries together, and they're now in a happy joy alliance, and they're all best buds and everything like that, are you rather trade with your buddy, or would you rather trade with a country that you just don't really care too much about, and or pissed off or hate, which a lot of people, a lot of nations and everything, are in, out there. They don't really care for us very much anymore. And so what's going to happen with all this is again, we're going to just see prices drastically rise. Now, the positive is, and this is a positive that we need to keep on out there on the horizon, because it's not going to happen overnight. The positive is that we're going to bring a lot of manufacturing back to the United States. And once we start doing that, things are going to start really looking good, because we are food independent, we are fertilizer independent, we are energy independent. And if we start producing our stuff again and start manufacturing, we'll be manufacturing independent. And so, but again, microchip companies just don't pop up overnight. And then all these other manufacturing things that we used to do in the steel industry, I mean, you just don't say, hey, I'm going to start making steel. And there's a lot of things that need to take place. And to create these industrial infrastructures will take about 3 to 5 years to put in place. But are we even there yet? No, we're not even there yet, because we're not feeling the pain. And once America starts feeling the pain, then we're going to start seeing manufacturing come back to America. But we still have a span of time that we are going to have to, quote unquote, stay afloat, live in our ark, and get through that storm. I think that 3 to 5 year time frame is going to be very painful for a lot of people, especially if people have not prepared. And so, which is what 90% of the population. So if you're sitting here watching me right now, know that you're part of the 10% who will probably make it. But we need to have that mindset and that longevity mindset that these things will and can take place. So I'm very concerned again about having the rug pulled out from underneath us. And in a sense, this is an economic war, and they're just choosing not to play anymore. And so these are the things I'm deeply concerned about. Now, the interesting thing is, well, I'm going to start buying American. Well, believe it or not, there are only about 11 companies, and these are mega corporations, that basically control almost everything that we use in our consumer goods from day to day, taking care of our home and everything like that. If everybody thinks that Colgate's made here, well, yeah, it's kind of made here, but guess where they get their raw resources from? And if it isn't from China, then it's from one of the BRICS nations. Mouthwash, floor cleaner, baby wipes, you name it. Even though these 11 corporations control it all, the big thing is where do they get all those raw resources to make all that stuff that then is American made? Well, a good amount of it comes from China, comes from Brazil, comes from India, comes from, some of these other countries, Indonesia, Thailand, so forth. And a lot of these countries again are being part of BRICS and are be joining BRICS. And so when this big happy family decides to stop, we're going to stop sending stuff. We're going to sell over here to India, and India is going to sell to Russia, and Russia is going to sell to this person, and everything. So they're kind of kicking us out of the party in a sense. And this is the thing that I'm deeply concerned about is what are people going to do in that time frame, that span of time where it finally, America finally wakes up and starts manufacturing again and then building that industrial infrastructure. That is going to be a span of time, and I think it's going to be very painful. And so things that I've been really preaching hard is, one, get a garden going, folks, and do it now, and do it as much as you can, because the more that you're able to subsidize yourself, the more cash that you'll have to, use in other places. And so those are the things that we're doing. We're planting a garden. Other things that I'm highly recommending people to do: start looking at tangible assets. Tangible assets are garden tools, home kitchen tools, just regular building tools, anything that you can do to be more self-sufficient. Get these things now while prices are low. I mean, I was amazed the other day. I had to go out and buy a shovel, and shovel prices, oh my goodness. I mean, I remember when a shovel cost 15, 20 bucks, the shovel, $59 for a stinking shovel. And so, but start looking at these things as tangible assets. Just the other day, and I must apologize, I didn't get the buy alert out in time to all you guys who are on my newsletter, but Excalibur had the 9-tray Excalibur dehydrator on sale for $189, and it only lasted about 24, 48 hours, and then popped it back up to 225 and stuff. So, I'm keeping an eye on things, but that's a tangible asset. And the great thing about a dehydrator is that not only will you able to preserve and create food for you and your family, but you are then able to create food to barter with. Some of the things that we do here is I always keep a mason jar next to our dehydrator, and any leftovers that we have, I throw it in the dehydrator, dehydrate it overnight, add it to the mason jar. And I just keep doing that with any, beans and peas and, sometimes meat. I'll trim off all the fat and everything, chunk it up and everything, dehydrate that up and everything. And so I keep it in a mason jar. And basically what I'm creating is, a meal in a jar. When it's all ready to go, I throw some oxygen absorbers in there, throw in some bouillon cubes and everything, and boom, I now have a meal in a jar. Well, that meal in a jar is something that I could take to my farmer's market and use to barter and trade when times are getting tough. And so look at things that will help you, not only help you and your family, but will also help you in producing income and or barterable items, that so that down the road, if things do get pretty ugly, you have barterable items that people want. And so tangible asset: first, grow a garden. 2, start stocking up on these tangible assets. Start going to garage sales, Goodwills, things like that. Start picking these things up now so that you have them on hand. And if anything, you can also use those for barter and trade. And so, I mean, I think I've got like 4 or 5 hammers and stuff. Do I need them all? No. But I at least have a couple hammers, then I can barter and trade. Tools and such are really great barterable items. So we're looking at doing that, doing the garden, tangible assets. And then another thing that I'm really starting to recommend people is start looking for junk silver. And that's something I'm talking to a local coin shop here, and hey man, I'm interested in some of the junk silver. And so junk silver is really good. It's 90%, like Morgan dollars and, the Ben Franklin half dollars, or junk silver is 90% silver. And before Nixon took us off the gold standard, we used to have, gold and silver as our currency. Well, there's a lot of junk silver still sitting out there, Mercury head dimes, and, the quarters, the half dollars, the silver dollars, and everything. Start going out and getting them. Right now, silver still is at a reasonable price. Last time I checked, it was sitting at about 23.20. Last week it was dipping down. It got down to about 22.19. Gold was hitting right there, right around the $1,900 mark and stuff. But as things start to boil, as some of this debt and everything starts coming back to the United States, as BRICS starts doing more of these things and, start, annexing us out or getting rid of us as trade partners or be willing to trade with us, again, prices are going to start going up and everything as well, which is going to cause more inflation. So I'm really recommending people to start looking into junk silver, and if you can't afford a Morgan dollar, which is a very popular junk silver to have on hand, Morgan dollars are going for about $27 to $35 for $1. Look at Mercury head dimes or half dollars or quarters or something. Try to find your mom and pop coin shop and go in there weekly. Whenever you get paid, go in, determine a sum that you're going to spend every time, every paycheck, and go in and buy some silver and start getting some of this junk silver on hand, because this is going to be a very barterable item to have, especially when it's taking a wheelbarrow full of cash to go down and buy a loaf of bread, which did happen during the Weimar Republic and things. So it's a serious situation. So garden, tangible assets, junk silver. Now, next thing is look into start learning more and getting acquainted with your local community. And 3 apps that I highly recommend, or websites that I highly recommend people getting. First is Nextdoor. Nextdoor is kind of like Facebook for your local communities. And so you download it and you're able to make contact with other people in your community. For example, I belong to several gardening groups. I belong to a fermenting group on Nextdoor. And so we're able to start talking, getting to know each other and everything. Nextdoor is a great place. Cynthia found a lady on Nextdoor that sells plants and vegetables and everything. So we were able to get veggies and starters for like $1 each. I mean, I went to Lowe's today. Oh my goodness, I was blown away. I mean, one pepper plant or one tomato plant or just one plant, $9.95 every plant. I mean, plants are insane. I mean, I can see what I'm doing next spring. I'm going to start planting a lot of starters and selling them. That's my goodness. I was just blown away at the cost of, people, it's insane, the cost of plants these days. Now that's massively gone up in price and things. But anyways, you start doing these things. But Cynthia found this one lady who would sell us, her starters that she's been doing out of her backyard and everything. So these are good alliances to start getting involved with. So Nextdoor or nextdoor.com is a really, really good source, and start leveraging these things now, because you're going to have to start getting in the habit. You're going to have to start making these connections and everything. You don't want to be doing all this stuff that I'm talking about when shit hits the fan. Pardon my French, SHTF. You want to be doing these things ahead of time so that, you have them in hand. You're doing them. They're part of your routine now. Try starting a new routine when SHTF is going on and the world is going crazy. It ain't going to happen. So it behooves you to start these habits now. So get on Nextdoor and start reaching out to your communities. There's so many groups out there that you can learn from and partake from and everything, as well as just meeting other people too, local gardeners. That's one of the things I've already met a couple of local gardeners and everything, and at least I have somebody that maybe I can barter with. I'm planting a boatload of tomatoes, so maybe they have some zucchini. What I can do is trade my tomatoes with their zucchini and things. So this is one of the benefits of having a garden. If you got a beautiful backyard, rip it up and plant a garden. It's still not too late. I mean, you still have the fall and winter time, and there's stuff that you can still plant in the wintertime, unless you live in the Great White North. But so next one is called Public Square, publicsq.com. And Public Square is companies or family owned or home based business or just local businesses that do everything from repairing couches to doing oil changes, you name it. But Public Square really promotes local business and local business owners. And by downloading that, what you do is download it. It's also a website, publicsquare.com, and you pop in your zip code and it pops up all these different companies and all these businesses that are local businesses that are on Public Square. Now the good thing is, and I'm finding out, is a lot of these business tend to be very pro-America, very patriotic, and lean towards more of a conservative bent versus more of a liberal bent, which I don't mind doing business with liberals either, man. If they got a product that I want or good a service that I want, hey, I would rather do business with a local than somewhere else with some big mega corporation or something. So Public Square is something that Cynthia and I are using now, starting to learn this, start learning our businesses and that are around us and everything, so that if and when SHTF does take place, we know the local businesses that we're going to go to support, because they're going to be living through SHTF as well. So it'll be good for all of us to, again, support our community and so forth. Daphne, she always does that. And then a next one, and this is something I'm very involved in, is preppernet.net. And it is the CEO is a good friend of mine. He actually is the CEO of Sun Oven, but some of you guys may know him, Forrest Garvin, and a good guy. He runs PrepperNet, and his whole push is to create mag groups or start introducing preppers to preppers, so that the prepper community can start getting to know each other, start leveraging the knowledge, start doing classes together, start doing training together, start creating mag groups, mutual assistance groups, and so forth. But I'm on the advisory board for PrepperNet, and they do a lot of great things. I mean, I'm also the city leader here for Roanoke Salem, and looking to constantly do training here and everything. And it's just it's a great thing to get involved in. And so I highly recommend that you do that. And so next door, Public Square, and PrepperNet. Then other things what you need to start thinking about, and this is something that amazes me, because I've talked to a lot of preppers about these things, and they don't have it all locked in yet. And that is basically your consumer goods. And consumer goods are the things you use daily and you really don't think about. For some people, it's toothpaste, it's hairspray, it's shampoo, it's body wash, it's floor cleaner, toilet bowl cleaner, dishwashing soap, laundry soap, vitamins, baby wipes, band-aids, acetaminophen, ibuprofen. I mean, a lot of these daily goods, that we really don't think about in stocking up in our pantries. Now there are some of you out there that are very mindful of this, and you've been doing a good job of stocking up on these things and everything like that. But going back to those 11 corporations, the big thing is when China starts locking us out and BRICS starts locking us out, a lot of those resources get locked out as well. So whatever it is that they use to make the toilet bowl cleaner and everything, again, those raw materials probably come from China, Brazil, India, wherever. But the 41 countries that are looking to join BRICS, odds are a lot of those raw materials are going to be coming from those countries. And again, they're not wanting to really play with us. They are de-dollarizing, and they are, wanting to trade with each other because they're best buds now. And so that means even these larger corporations, these mega corporations, are going to not be able to, make stuff. And then if they are able to buy from BRICS nations or other stuff and getting these sources and everything, then the cost of everything is going to go up. Right now a tube of toothpaste at Walmart is what 3.25 or something like that. Well, imagine paying $10 for a tube of toothpaste because all the raw materials come from BRICS nations and stuff. You're still buying your Colgate, but the cost of it has gone up so much that it's ridiculously overpriced because they have to pay for all those imported raw materials and things. Excuse me, got it itchy. So these are things that a lot of people, they got their three beans, bullets, and band-aids, but they don't think about the day-to-day necessities that so many of us use and everything. And so what I've been doing is I did a bunch of research because this is something that concerns me. Is I did a bunch of research trying to find American-made products. And I mean, I checked out Amway. I checked out there's this one that delivers a truckload of stuff every month, and I forget the name of it. Maybe some of you know it. I forget it, but after doing some digging with them, even though they have a lot of American organic foods and stuff like that, almost all their products were BRICS nations and things. So I've looked at, a bunch of different solutions out there. And I have to be honest, it's been difficult, but I did find a company, Online Shopping Club, and I cannot mention the name here because they do word of mouth advertiser, and I am an influencer. And so per their rules, I can't say the name. But what I have done is below is called Patriot Switch. Now, a lot of you who are in the prepper arena, more and more of you are hearing about Patriot Switch and what they're doing there. And it's a great shopping club. It's like $19 to join. Last May, I haven't run our June numbers yet. I'm going to be running our June numbers, but when I ran our May numbers, we saved about $94 versus shopping at Walmart. And again, these are all the things that we use daily. I mean, Cynthia uses, all the makeup and, all that cream junk all y'all ladies do, and, your nighttime routines and everything like that. And toothpaste, mouthwash, dish soap, laundry stuff, everything. So, what we've done is we've really started pushing out the Walmart thing and no longer shopping there. And now we're shopping with this online shopping club, and we just love it. We love the products and everything. So this is a solution. All these things that I'm talking about are solutions that you need to start doing now. Start doing your garden, start looking for your tangible assets, start buying junk silver, start getting some of these apps on your phone, start looking for sources for you to start buying your daily consumer goods. And again, if you want to learn what we're doing, hit my Patriot Switch link below. It's down in the comments or in the description, and you can learn more about it. Now, if you do hit that, do me a favor and check your email, because when you hit it in about 15 to 24 hours, I get an email saying, hey, man, Joe Blow contacted you. And so I'll email you and I'll text you. Well, nobody's emailing me back and nobody's texting me back. And so if you do hit that, look for my email. Odds are it's ending up in spam. And then I've also learned that now on phones, they have spam on texting too. So it might be being sent there as well. But if you hit my Patriot link, do me a favor and, watch for my info, because I'll send you a bunch of info, tell you who we are and everything. You're not going to have to go through any stinking spiels or anything like that. But we love the products. We love everything that's going on. It's helped our family. We're saving money. And I think the products are far superior. And so, but those are the things, those are the solutions. And my push is that we've got to start doing these things now, because more and more people are learning about this, but they are still pushing off the action. And oh, we got time, we got time, we got time. Well, we're 6 weeks away from the BRICS meeting. And are things going to change overnight? I think that no, but there is a chance that things may change right overnight too. A number of countries, when a bunch of your buddies get together and you decide to do something, you hop on it. I think that's what might happen with this BRICS meeting, is that there's going to be some excitement and everything. And so, you know what? I'm going to de-dollarize, and they're going to start selling off stuff. Or, you know what? I'm not going to trade that corn with America anymore, and see things like that. And so we still have time. Now, on top of that, let me bring her a bad news, is that I don't know if you've been paying attention to what Janet Yellen has been talking about here recently, but she's talking about more bank closures taking place in the fall. And the last number I heard now is about 410. There were about 230, but now we're starting to hear the number 410 pop up. And so if we see more bank closures happen and everything, then that's going to seriously affect the economy. And then also, again, the feds are talking again about raising interest rates yet one more time, and things. So there's a lot of things coming down the pipe, folks. And so you have a little bit of time, but I really, really highly recommend do like what we're doing here at the Moore Home and start doing these things now. Start getting in these habits now, because it's going to take you about 60 to 90 days to really cement these things in, because you're going to be changing your buying patterns. You're going to be changing, how you maybe buy and sell. You might be using more junk silver. You might be using more barter and trade and everything. Another thing is start looking for a side hustle, because things are going to get more expensive. And if you start having a side hustle, you start having more money there for you. And so, start looking at things like that. But again, these are things that need to be done now, so that the habits are there and you're locked in. You don't want to be doing this when SHTF is going on, and the pressure and the chaos and the insecurity and everything that's going to be taking place as all these things kind of fall apart. And again, I'm not the only one talking about it here. We're seeing Rudy talk about it, and he's been talking about it. Rudy's talking about it. Pinball Preparedness is talking about it and things. These things are going down, and they're going down hard. And so we need to start, looking at it. And just to kind of give you a glimpse, look at all the inflation that's taking place. I mean, inflation is going crazy, and the inflation is going to get worse. And so enough of the bad news. We're now sitting at 1 hour, 2 minutes. So I just, let's look here and see what everybody is talking about. Let's see, you got a lot of comments here. I really appreciate you guys. Sherry Hicks is just Sherry and Joan, Angry Taco, and Lori and Karen, and Lori and Lisa Level and Debbie and everything. I really appreciate you guys doing that. And stalking and everything, and being, one part of our wonderful community and stuff like that. And so, I just appreciate it. And again, if you guys are new, I see some names here that I don't recognize, but Daphne. If you're new, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, and then ring that little bell so you get notified whenever we do go live or when we do post a video. I am going to try to do a video tomorrow and give you a garden update. Again, I was supposed to do that Friday. I missed it, but tomorrow I'm going to try to do it. I want to show you all this stuff with the electroculture that is happening. Our garden is growing like crazy. And so I bought more copper, more poles and everything. I'm going to be putting in more antennas and other stuff, and we're just seeing some incredible growth. And it's just it's insane. And here I've always thought it was a folklore or some made up mumbo jumbo stuff, but the experiments that I've been running, and they're proving true. So this is a great way to get your garden going, is using the electroculture methods. And so watch my videos as I'm doing it. It's super simple: copper wire wrapped around a stick, planted in the ground next to the plants. And I've been noticing that there's people out on YouTube who are using the short antennas, and they're not having much success. Versus me, I'm using about 3-4 foot tall, sticks with copper wire, and I'm having some pretty good success. So, but that's everything that I can think of, folks. I just thank you so much for tuning in, taking the time, hanging out with me, and hearing me jibber jabber and share all this negative news and doom and gloom and everything. I don't like to share doom and gloom. I really try, folks, to give solutions. And the solutions I put out there is not just something happenstance. These are things that we're doing here at our house, and they're working. And so I'm making myself the guinea pig in a sense. And I'm kind of figuring if it's working for me, it'll probably work for you. So again, plant that garden, start looking for tangible assets, buy junk silver, get next door public square, and get on preppernet.net, and then hit my Patriot Switch link below and learn more about the shopping club that I can't say the name of, because of the rules. And we'll see it. So that's everything. I just thank you so much for taking time to tune in and hang out with me for this 1 hour. I think Pinball Preparedness is getting ready to do his live. So I want to give a shout out to Pinball and encourage you guys to go over there and see him, because odds are he's going to be talking about the grain issue as well. And so check out Pinball Preparedness. Great guy, lives down in Tennessee, and big fan. So I'm Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And kilt on.